Hi, my name is Johannes Peterlechner. I'm a PhD candidate in the Oberdorfer lab at the University of Technology in Graz, Austria. And today I will introduce you to enzyme design using RFdiffusion3. In this tutorial, we will generate new protein structures while keeping a catalytic motif fixed. The objective is to preserve a small functional element such as a catalytic site while redesigning the surrounding protein scaffold. By the end of this tutorial, you will have produced a set of newly generated protein structures that maintain the catalytic motif. To follow this tutorial, you will need a working installation of RFdiffusion3. There is no prior knowledge of diffusion models or protein design required. We begin by loading the reference structure from the protein data bank. For this example, we use the structure 1mg5, which will serve as the source for extracting the catalytic site together with its associated ligands. Inside Pymol, the structure can be downloaded directly using the command fetch and the identifier. The structure used here, 1mg5, corresponds to an alcohol dehydrogenase from Drosophila. The relevant ligands in this structure are the nicotinamide cofactor and the acetate, and both are retained as part of the motif. The catalytic triad is composed of the serine 139, tyrosine 152 and lysine 165. In addition, asparagine 108 is also crucial for catalysis, so we will focus on these residues for our design. After defining these residues and ligands of interest, we create a new object that contains only these components. The selection restricts the motif to chain A, includes catalytic residues 108, 139 and so on, and adds the two ligands. The create motif command then generates a new object called motif. This effectively isolates the catalytic motif from the full structure. Just make sure everything is included. Once the selection looks correct, the motif can be exported in Pymol. This is done through File, Export Molecule, choose the correct selection, and save it as a PDP file. I will save it on the desktop. Before running the inference, however, we need to define the constraints that will guide the design process. These constraints specify which parts of the structure must remain fixed and how the surrounding scaffold should be generated. To provide this information to RFdiffusion, we create a JSON configuration file that encodes these settings for the design run. So I connected to my cluster to have access to the GPUs. I create a new file called introdesign.json. I will use Vim here. Feel free to use any text editor as you want. Since this is a JSON file, the structure needs to follow standard JSON formatting. Each parameter we add will define a part of the inference setup. We start by opening a top-level block. Inside this, we define the name of the inference configuration. This is essentially just a label for the design setup. Next, we specify the input structure. This tells RFdiffusion which PDP file contains the motif we extracted earlier. In this case, it's the motif file we saved from Pymol. Then we define the ligands present in the structure. Here we list the ligand names exactly as they appear in the PDP file. Including them ensures that these molecules remain present during the diffusion process and that the generated scaffold respects their position. Next, we specify the motif residues. These are the catalytic residues we extracted earlier. The unindex field marks motif residues whose relative sequence placement is unknown to the model, meaning their position within the generated sequence is not predefined while the model scaffolds a protein around them. Now we define the overall protein length. We want the model to generate roughly 180 to 200 residues. This means RFdiffusion will generate scaffolds between 180 and 200 amino acids, including the unindexed residues somewhere within that structure. Next, we define which atoms should remain fixed during diffusion. This section allows us to constrain specific atoms to the unindexed residues. For example, A108ND2CG. Here the delta nitrogen and the gamma carbon of asparagine 108 are fixed during the design process. We constrain these atoms to preserve the geometry of the catalytic environment. In general, atoms that play a direct role in catalysis or help maintain the geometry of the active site are constrained in this way. Depending on the design requirements, it is also possible to fix an entire residue or only selected atoms within it. We repeat the same idea for the other catalytic residues. Each of these lines specifies the atoms that should remain constrained for those residues. From here we continue completing the JSON structure and close the blocks properly. But this section already defines the core constraints needed for a design run. After saving the JSON, we can run the RFdiffusion3 design job. I'm doing this directly from the terminal, but first I have to activate the Conda environment. First I type RFd3 design. Next I specify the output directory. This tells RFdiffusion where to write the generated structures and runtime logs. If the directory does not exist yet, it will be created automatically. Then I provide the configuration file we created earlier. After executing the command, we can see runtime logs and messages, while the diffusion process samples new protein designs. The total runtime mainly depends on the selected sequence length, the number of designs being generated, and the available compute resources. Next, we take a look at the output generated by the diffusion run. Once the job has finished, navigate to the output directory defined earlier. This directory contains the generated structure files as well as metric files describing the quality of the generated designs. If the job was executed on a remote machine or a cluster, as in this tutorial, the first step is to copy the output directory to a local computer. A common way to do this is with SCP. This simply transfers the entire output directory so we can inspect the results. Once the files are available locally, we can start by looking at the metric files. I'll open them in a text editor. Again, use any text editor of your choice. Some of the key values to look at are things like join point RMSD, the number of chain breaks, the secondary structure fractions, and the overall protein length. For a quick first pass, the most useful indicator is usually join point RMSD. We want to have a low value here. Ideally, we also want no chain breaks and a reasonable secondary structure distribution. Based on these values, we can select one or a few promising candidates for structural inspection. To do that, we open the corresponding PDP file in a visualization tool such as PyMol. Here we mainly check whether the motif geometry is preserved, whether the overall fold looks plausible, and to confirm that the motif is properly integrated into the generated scaffold. For that, we need to look at the diffused index map, which shows us the mapping of the selected residues to the newly generated structure. We can highlight these in PyMol and look at the constraint motif and whether there are any obvious steric clashes, particularly around the ligand and catalytic residues. This completes the full workflow we covered in the tutorial. We started by extracting the catalytic motif, then defined the design constraints, ran the RFdiffusion3 inference, and finally evaluated the generated designs. In short, the process shows how a functional motif can be used as a starting point with RFdiffusion3 to generate new protein scaffolds, while maintaining the key structural features required for activity. If you want to go more into detail on enzyme design, there is a second video on enzyme design, which is linked in the video description. Thank you for watching.